Okay, give me a mic check. Let me know if you can hear me, everyone. Give me a heads up on a mic check. Okay, welcome everyone to the Pro Trader and Plus and Retail Sales. My name is Lee Goldstein, the Trading Director at 10 Minute Trades. Please remember that all the trades we discuss are for educational purposes. I'm not a financial advisor. It is possible to lose money trading futures. Trade carefully, please. Okay, good morning. At least it's good morning on the East Coast. That's where I am, Pennsylvania. All right. So we're looking at U.S. retail sales. Let's get our charts
Secured
going.
overnight financing rate 4.65% December
I've
16th
got
versus
gold on the
4.6%
left.
December 13th.
I actually have Canada on the right, 6C 0325, as there is a Canadian CPI report, which I am not trading. And I'm looking at the ES 0325 indexes have rolled over. And we actually have an interesting ES trap trade that you can use on retail. So I do want to welcome everyone that's watching us on YouTube. So first off, there's a lot going on. Thank you everyone who's joined us on YouTube. Really appreciate it. All right. So hopefully everything is working. And it seems like the mic is working fine. So there's quite a few people here. Can you hear the mic? Give me a heads up more than just Steven, please. I need to see from a few people that audio is working. All right. Okay. All right. Let's talk about retail sales. Retail sales has been a trap trade for a very long time, and we don't have any reason to change it. If you want to reduce your risk, you can use micros, okay? Just everybody, please check your time sync by going to the website time.is. That's all I'm doing there. Just going to the website time.is. Interestingly, I use a very old browser when I can called Opera. I used to use Opera all the time. I used to use it for the trade room. I used to use it for absolutely everything that I did. I loved the way that they just easily keep track of your bookmarks. Essentially, they have a really nice, simple bookmark system, and you can see it. It's just real easy. I just like it. It just resonated with me. And then about a year ago, all of a sudden, Opera stopped streaming the trade room. No idea why, but it just stopped working. Opera no longer lets me stream. I reached out everywhere. I went on Reddit. I went all the places you would go. Nobody can help me. Opera doesn't stream the trade room, and it doesn't give me the audio from Financial Juice. It's the craziest thing. When I stream with Opera, the charts don't stream, they just freeze. If anybody should hear anything, I prefer to use Opera. I'm stuck using Brave now, which is a very good browser, but it's not my browser of choice. Anyway, retail, retail, retail. I think, but it doesn't matter what I think. Don't forget, I do think retail sales are good. I think the news is going to be good news. I think the consumer is spending. And I think it is a short Christmas holiday wise, so you have to worry more about the retail sales after Christmas rather than this particular retail sales report. I think this retail sales report will be a good, solid retail sales. I'm just watching Canada CPI. I have no intention of trading it. Okay? None whatsoever. It has not been a great performing event. Retail has been working very well. So let's set up our retail trades. Trade number one on retail is a gold trap trade. There is a setup for Canada retail, Canada CPI, I mean. Um, it's definitely an inconsistent report, okay? It's an inconsistent report. It's probably safer if you do anything. If you insist on trading it, I would use the trap. Okay, but you could see it hasn't had great results. It's had a bunch of cancels, but I'd rather have cancels. It hasn't had a lot of stops. It's pretty big tiers. Odds are possible it won't even get filled. Better to watch it. Maybe next year we'll start trading Canada CPI. If it trades by itself, if it trades with major retail news or major US news, it's better to trade the US news generally, not always, but generally the profit opportunities can be better. All right, we have a secret setup on retail, but first let's go with the official setup. The official setup is a gold trap trade, and I am going to do position size 1 is a 1, position size 2 is a 1. All that means is we have one position for each order, one contract. We're going to trigger our trade at 8:29:55. Our stop is 25. It's pretty big. This report has plenty of risk if it doesn't work. $600-700 is possible to lose. Tier 1 is 55. This is a big moving report. Tier 2 is 70. And I'll show you why we do it this way. And then I'm going to label it trap. I know the main trap I'm doing is gold, but I'm going to put GC in front of that trap and after it. I'll show you why. GC trap, GC trap. All right, 55.70 on the tiers. Trading it in our prop account. Gold right now is bearish. Love to see it pulling off the lows. Gold opens at 820. Okay. You can use micros. I would double the stop to 50. I'd probably leave everything else alone. That's how I would deal with the micros. Is anybody else having audio issues? Because I used this mic all day yesterday and had no problems whatsoever. And I'm seeing mic sounds being fine. I can see the sounds. Okay, keep me posted, folks. If all of a sudden there's a problem, Steve, somebody please type in that Steven should relog in and out. Okay. It could be something going on with the room, everyone, because this is a mic I use all the time. I'm sticking with very, very few mics these days, especially because we're doing the challenge also. I don't want my mics going out. Okay, so let's go over that setup one more time. We got distracted. It's going to be a trap. All right. It's going to be a trap. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. Once again, that just means we're trading one contract on each position. Activating at 8:29:55. Okay. 5 seconds before the news comes out, that means we put our orders on the chart. Our stop is 25. Tiers. Tier 1 is 55, Tier 2 is 70. If you use the previous version of the software, you might have something that says prep seconds and time of event. Just make your prep seconds 5, okay, and make the time of the event 8:30 Eastern time. Or it should really be 8:30. It should be your local time on the half hour, right? If you're East Coast, it's 8:30. But don't forget, you're trading on your local time. Don't follow my time or your trade will trigger at the wrong time. And then I'm labeling GC trap and I'm choosing a proper account to trade it in. Match your charts with the right account that you're trading it in so you see your orders. All right. You want to see your orders. Now, we can do the same things we used to do with our breakout trades. We can enable a trap trade with 0 time. If you want to see where your tiers are sitting, you could set time to 0. And it will change because the markets are changing. So that's the thing you have to realize. We test our brackets, we test our tiers and things
Order
like that.
submitted.
And it will change because the market's moving while we're waiting for the trade. So this is just where it would be if the trade was taking place now. But it gives you an idea. You know, our sell is at the low. I think today my gut
Order canceled.
feeling is I'd rather the news be good so gold has a tendency to push down. That's what I would prefer. That's what I would prefer. We don't always get what we prefer. Now, I'm not going to trade a magnet trade this morning. I happen to have one on the chart. You could trade magnets. I mean, you do have a gold if you're not trading the trap and you're not trading a breakout. There's certainly a possibility of a gold short magnet. It's possible. There's a possibility of a gold 6 p.m. magnet over here, this level. Eventually, there's a high of day magnet. I don't think we're at the high of day. We're too far away. It's $12. It's not going to happen. But it could happen the low of the day. It's only about 80 ticks away. We don't usually get 80 tick moves, but we get pretty big moves on this trade. So that's my gold setup. It's pretty much, we've had a pretty stable setup on gold. We have a spike sheet, What's a spike sheet? A spike sheet is a test sheet that shows us how much this report's been spiking on the news release. And some of the spikes are pretty big, but they've been very manageable over the past three. Our setup is a safe spike sheet, is a safe setup except for May. That's only one bad trade on the initial news release. That's very good. That's a year's worth of data. So we like our setup, and it's a good probability setup. We have a secret setup on the ES. There's a trap trade on the ES. Now, I'm not doing anything with the magnet at this trade room. Okay. There's too much other stuff going on. Doesn't mean you can't trade magnets. We will have a magnet class in the challenge on Thursday, I believe it is. Everyone should know how to set up their own magnets so that you don't, you can do different things if you choose. We have this ES setup that has tested rather well. It's also an ES trap. And if you notice, it's not real big. It's not real big, but it has some very decent to good reversals, which is what we like to see in a trap trade. So I'm going to actually trade that in one of my other prop accounts, but I'll concentrate on the gold one because the gold one is much higher risk. So I'm choosing, and I want to test this ES trap trade. I was going to put it on the DMM. Honestly, it's sort of a secret trade. We've been testing it, looking at it. Let's see how it does today. If it has a good trade today, it'll probably graduate to the DMM. If it's not good, then it won't. We'll wait on it. The activation time is 8:29:55. And the stop is 20, 18 and 26 on my tiers. And remember, you can use EMS if you want to. I would double the stop if I use MES. The event is 8:30. If you're using previous software, then your time of event should be 8:30. Should be whatever your half hour coming up is on in your time zone. If you're in California, you're probably 5:30 on the trade. Okay. If you're using the current software, you should be triggering at 8:29:55 East Coast time. 18 and 26 on our tiers. I've got my ES labeled. Position 1 is a 1, position 2 is a 1. 18 to 26 on the tiers. All right. So I've got an ES trap. I've got a gold trap.
Order submitted.
And so why did that happen? Because I didn't fix my
Order
time
canceled.
on my gold trap and put it back to 8:29:55. That's why you should always check your time before you enable a trade. It's a good rule of thumb. With a trap trade, the tiers are big, so the odds of you getting filled by accident are very, very slim. But even still, you don't want to leave yourself. You don't want to make the mistake that I just did. Everybody should learn from my mistakes. Make sure your time is correct before you click the enable button so you don't get filled before the trade takes place, right? Does everybody understand that? Just a reminder, we have a really good educational session coming up today at noon for the challenge. And we do have an API report, I believe, right, as well today. This is a bitty week, a bitty week, a P Diddy week. It's a busy week, and we have a Traders Corner webinar, which is hard to believe, but we have a Christmas Traders Corner webinar. I don't even know the date of that. I gotta check that. I can't keep track of everything this month. But somewhere we'll send you a link for a Traders Corner webinar. If you want to come, we would love it. It's the 19th, Thursday. Okay, anybody have any questions about the setups we're using? Those are the setups that I'm using. All right. Now, you can always set up an after the news trade on something like retail. Maybe we won't get filled, right? Maybe there won't be a fill. That gold has a much smaller move than expected, but it has a decent move. And there's an opportunity to get into a trade after the news. So I'll use a second strategy. I'll add to my trap trade chart and I'll do it as a reversal continuation. And just one position, I'll use a 20 tick target and a 20 tick stop. And maybe, just maybe, there might be an opportunity for a second trade. It's possible. And I'll label that trade REV, REV. It doesn't mean it has to be a reversal, it could be a continuation. And then I'll put it on the same account that I'm trading my trap trade on. So I don't have to do any manipulation of charts and accounts at the last minute. You don't want to get yourself so confused that you screw up a trade just because you make an error, a management error. But I just basically now have a setup where if I want to, I can have a second trade after the news. Maybe you notice on the chart that you're going to go test a level definitively, you know. That's one reason we invented this instant, long, instant, short reversal continuation situation. And for all you magnet lovers out there, you could trade retail just as a magnet trade today. The ES, kind of interesting, is a VWAP trade, right? You could trade a magnet VWAP. So let's say you were going to do that. You would right click your chart, you would click strategy. Before you even do that, you'd look at the value of the VWAP, 6135.63. Click magnet trade, custom level 6165.63. Is that what I said? Check it.
So in 10 minutes time now at the bottom of the hour,
And
seasonal
it
data
does
for the US
change
and Canada.
radically.
With the US,
So
we see their retail sales for the month of
61,
November.
35,
Month over month, the forecast is
59. Okay, that's
0.5% on the
fine.
prior
61,
0.4%, with
35,
a range of 1% to minus
59. For now, that's
0.1%.
our magnet. So let's say you okay it. The idea
Let's
with
get
the
the core
magnet is
retail sales
choose
month
the
over month.
level
Forecast
you want to
0.4%
exit.
on the prior
And then when
0.1%,
you
with a range
enable,
of 0.8 to minus
that's where
0.1%.
your
Retail
magnet
sales year over
entry
year
is going
to
to
a prior rate of
be.
2.85%.
And if we're moving up to the
For the
VWAP,
Canadian
I
CPI
want to get
numbers,
filled
CPI year over
before I
year for
get to the
November
VWAP.
forecast
Okay.
2% from the prior
So I've
2%,
moved
with a
my
range of
fill.
2.2 to
And if the
1.6%
price goes
expected,
up on this
while month
trade
over
and
month
then
has a
hits the
forecast of
VWAP,
0.1% on
it's
the
going to
prior
fill me at that
0.4%,
thick
with a
line.
range of 0.5 to minus
And it's going to
0.3%
take me
expected.
out
Bank of
pretty
Canada with the core
close to that
CPI
VWAP.
year over year, so a prior of 1.7%,
And
month
in
over
that
month, a
magnet
prior of
trade, and I'm not
0.4%.
keeping it on, we
For the
just have
breakdown,
too
the
much
Canadian
stuff going
CPI
on.
median forecast at
But in that
2.4% from the
magnet
prior
trade, gold just
2.5%.
opened.
The
That's why
trim
we have this
forecast at
movement down.
2.6%, unchanged from the prior 2.6%, and the
Inside the
column to a
magnet
prior read of
strategy, you have the
2.2%.
ability to change
Canadian
your
core CPI
target,
month over
to
month,
move,
prior read was
make your target
0.4%.
bigger, smaller, etc. I don't want to get everybody totally confused. All right, but there's always one There's always additional ways to trade. There is no one setup. We trade our favorite setups, and our favorite setups are the traps. And the ES setup, one more time, and like I said, you can MES it. The trap, 18 and 26. The stop is 20. Tier 1 is 18. Tier 2 is 26. Stop is 20. Position size 1 is a 1. Position size 2 is a 1. Okay? Choose your account. Label your trade. Give it a name. And then apply it and OK it. All right? And then enable it in the control panel. Remember, I'm watching Canada, just watching the price action. Here's our news, retail sales, CPI. I'm also going to hear the news in my headset. Okay. I want to thank everybody. I'm just looking over at YouTube on my other laptop. That's why I move over that way. I'm not a nut. There's a lot of technology this morning. Let's take a look at last month retail sales traded with Empire
Okay,
State
welcome everyone to the Pro
Manufacturing.
Trade Room Plus and the retail sales.
So this is a video of last month's retail. And if you notice, I'm pretty sure our setup was exactly the same. It was. Okay. And we used a tiny bit bigger tier, 72 instead of 70. And what you're going to see happen is the price is going to shoot down. Remember, in a trap trade, what happens? We're trading the opposite way of the move. If the price shoots down, we're going long. If it pierces our orders, it pierced our order, it's instantly profitable, and then it pulls back down again. Right now, you're profitable, very profitable. What you have to do is, in this case, it only hit one tier. Remember, we have two tiers. So you can't get your stop into safety if only one tier is hit, because your second order will be in the way of your stop. That's why we have a feature in our software called cancel the outer tier. Watch what happens. Retail's going to shoot down. It's going to pierce the first tier, put me in the market. That second tier, it's in the way of my stop. That's my second order. We don't know if the market's going to continue down and fill that order. It still could, so that we have two orders long in the market. It's nothing wrong. It's nothing automated that should be taking place. We're just letting the trade be the trade. In this case, it starts to reverse. It doesn't
And
fill the
5 minutes
tier.
time now at
So
the
you got
bottom
to
of the
get
hour.
rid of
You're
that
going to see
order
data
if
from
you
the
want to
US
move
and
your stop
Canada.
to safety.
US with their
If you
retail
don't
sales
move
for
your stop to
November,
safety,
month over month, the forecast is
you might
0.5% on the
lose the
prior
ability to
0.4%,
protect your
with a range of
profit
1% to
if
minus
eventually the
0.1%
trade
expected.
changes direction
Core
again.
retail sales month
Right
over month
now,
forecast 0.4% on the prior
it's going up,
0.1%,
giving us
with a
profit.
range of 0.8 to minus
It's doing what
0.1%
we want it to
expected.
do.
And retail sales year over year to a prior read of
So we
2.85%.
canceled the outer tier with the
For the
outer
Canadian
tier
CPI
cancel
data for
button.
November, year
If
over
you
year,
look at the
forecast
top
is
of your
2%
chart,
from the prior 2%,
when you
with a range of
enable a
2.2 to
trap trade,
1.6% expected.
you
Canadian
have
CPI month
canceled the
over month,
outer tier
forecast
buttons.
0.1%
I
on the
will
prior
try to talk through the
0.4%,
trade.
with a range of
Okay.
0.5 to minus
I'll try to
0.3%
speak
expected.
through both trades, the
Bank of Canada with
ES
the core CPI
and
numbers
gold.
year over year saw a
Okay.
prior read of 1.7%, month over month, a prior of 0.4%.
So we only have a few minutes. There's 4 minutes left. Just out of quick curiosity, a very quick look. 2022 retail. Still doing the trap. All right. We were still in the trap. Way smaller. tiers of 20 and 30 2 years ago. Sometimes markets change, right? Markets change. And then this particular event was a tiny winner. And I was impatient. You could see that took a tiny winner there and it wound up going down further. I'm very impatient. I'm going to try. My New Year's resolution, not to be impatient. I think that was my resolution last year and actually the year before. I'm just human. I'm humming. All right. I'm hummus. I think I'm so funny, but no one else does. You ever notice that? I think I'm hilarious and no one else does. So too bad. There's nothing I can do about that. We have 2.5 minutes to go. I'm happy. So I amuse myself. That's part of my job. We have 2 minutes. So you got these buttons that are part of the trap trade. Break even. If you want to put your stop at break even, that's what the break even button does. Close the trade. Does the same thing as the close. Adjust the tiers. We don't use that button currently. Cancel the outer tier. That we use. Okay, we do cancel the outer tier if only one order gets filled. All right. If for some reason you can't see your orders, maybe it's because your charts are too wide, so you might have to shrink them. If everything's too scrunched up, you might have to widen your charts, okay? And I might have to do the same thing on the ES. So we have 1 more minute and 15 seconds. And then for all you Canada lovers out there, Canada CPI is an event we've been trading
leading with US
for
retail
many,
sales
many,
month
many
over month.
years. It's just had some struggles as of late. Doesn't mean it's completely untradeable. It means if you do the testing to make sure there are safe setups, it's very possibly tradable. All right, 15 seconds. My first concern is just to get my orders on my gold chart spread properly. They're going to be on the chart right now.
Order submitted.
That's spread properly. Everything looks good, very manageable.
0.7%, 0.7% higher than
Not
forecast,
very
0.6%.
big moves, you know.
Core retail sales month over month, 0.2%, 0.2%, lower than forecast, 0.4%.
We're not seeing
For
very
the
big moves here.
Canadian CPI
If
year
it'll
over year,
go up,
1.9%, 1.9%, which is lower than forecast, 2%. CPI month over month, that's 0%, 0%, lower than forecast,
I have to say, folks,
0.1%.
that our tiers are
Let's look into the
just
markets here. A little
so
bit of
big,
whipsawing in the S&P 500,
and
but some
they
weakness coming
are
through in the dollar after the US
appropriately
retail sales
big.
numbers. So for the Bank of Canada,
But
core
I don't
CPI
think
year over
this
year,
trade
1.6%,
should
1.6%, month over month at minus
be
0.1%,
filled
minus
at this point now.
0.1%. Canadian
I think
CPI trim at
we
2.7%,
are clearly
2.7%,
not
higher than
getting a
forecast,
big move out
2.6%.
of
The
retail.
median at 2.6%,
I would cancel this
2.6%,
trade.
higher than
That's the
forecast,
reality. I
2.4%.
usually
The
give it a
common at
minute,
2%, 2%. Canadian core
but it
CPI month
seems
over month at
clear we're just not
0.1%,
getting a move.
0.1%.
So I'm going to cancel my gold trap. Look, if you don't get the move, you don't cry in a corner. We just don't have a trade. This is not like yesterday.
Order
Okay?
canceled.
Gold is canceled. ES, I'm going to
US
cancel.
10-year Treasury yields
The
dip after
ES
the
is
data,
a
lost at
smaller
around
move,
4.419%.
but it's clear
Order
today
canceled.
that this is not even an impactful move, really. There's nothing you can do. We didn't do anything wrong. If you look at the spike sheet, we had an excellent setup. Now,
And
now
US
you
retail
have
sales year over
a
year right
very
now,
possible
3.8%, 3.8%.
magnet trade on gold. If you want to do MGC to reduce your risk,
Seeing
right?
prior revisions here, retail sales month over month
0225
revised up to 0.5% from 0.4%.
MGC, getting
Core
rid
retail
of my
sales revised up to
trades to get them out of
0.2%
the
from
way.
0.1%. For
Putting
the
a
Canadian
magnet
CPI
trade
median, the prior was
on gold
revised
as
up to
fast as I
2.6%
can.
from
High of
2.5%.
day, low
The
of
trim
day.
revised up as well to 2.7%
10%.
from
I threw it
2.6%.
on micros, 2 contracts. I'm leaving everything pretty much the way it is. I'm putting it on a chart that I'm putting it on my prop account. Apply it, okay it. I'm enabling my magnet. There's my fill. I think gold's going to test that low. So I'm turning my magnet on. All right. Let's see what happens. But I threw it into micros because it's early. We just got here. I haven't really spent a whole ton of time looking at the market super clearly this morning yet. So if we get our fill here, I think there's a real possibility gold could test this low. It was negative before we got here.
Canadian swap see a
Canada, you
55%
could
chance
see
of
it
a
had
Bank
a
of Canada interest rate cut in
it had
January.
a
From a little
wick that
changed, that is
maybe
little
looks
changed
like
from
it
before
might
the
have been
inflation data.
a trap, right? Depending on I don't know what the spike is at this moment, right this second. And then the retail sale news overall was good. It was higher than expected on the month over month. And then the core was a little bit lower, but still it was the same as the previous. For our magnet trade, I would rather have seen that a tiny bit better. It would make the magnet work better because instead of being news as expected, it would actually be positive news if the retail sales were a little stronger. Now, I'm not risking a lot to take this trade. I don't need my reversal, okay? But if we get filled here, let's see if it'll go test the low. If it doesn't, I'll get stopped out. I would probably put my stop above the VWAP. If gold breaks the VWAP, I'm absolutely wrong, okay? Yeah, 6C, honestly, Todd, I didn't even look at it, so it would be one of those that would have to be, I'd have to test it to see how good that move is. Now, I certainly prefer magnets. Look, this is very common behavior in gold. You get it pushed down, you get a candle that changes direction, but gold, it's still somewhat negative at the moment. Um, the news wasn't terrible, right? It
Bank
wasn't
of America
anything
CEO says
approaching
we don't expect
terrible
the medium-term
on
rate
the
structure to
US
move down a lot.
news.
Speaking on CNBC now.
So remember, terrible would have a tendency to push gold up, okay? Good would have a tendency to push gold down. So, like I said, I'm willing to do a quick try. If gold goes above the VWAP, I'm out of here. Maybe if it even gets above this candle here, I'm out of here. But I think there's still a real possibility we're going to test this low. Let's hang around for a few minutes. Anybody got to go anywhere? Where are you going? We're here trading. All right. This is the aftermath. Now I'm taking care of my daughter's dogs all month, and the smells that are
Order
coming out of these
submitted.
animals, and I'm on the wrong darn chart. Okay, that's the right chart. got filled. So now the
Let's
question
list out
is,
US retail sales and Canadian
I
CPI
want
November
my
reports now for
stop
each of
out of
those
the
interested.
way. Okay, not because I'm afraid of magnet trades, but I really, if this move is down unless it completely changes direction. So right now, I want to see if it continues down to test the low. And I think we'll put our order somewhere around there. Let's see if we've got it right, wrong, or indifferent. Let's just watch for a few minutes. Calvin, you probably should always set yourself up with an NQ chart somewhere. You can always set up a second trade for yourself, right? Always set up a second trade for yourself on the NQ so you don't have to be frustrated. So we're just watching to see if we get any help with gold pushing down. So let's give it a few minutes. Give it a few minutes. Canada. See if we can tell. Chantal, can you tell the size of the spike if you're still here on Canada? Just if I look at the ruler, the whole candle, it's only a 33 tick candle. So, you would have had at least a 10 bracket. Let's say you were going to do a breakout. You would have had a 10 bracket on a breakout, but I didn't recommend a breakout on that. It would have been a trap. So I'm still going to watch this. I'm not giving up on this. I've seen gold a million times do what we're seeing now. It's not a bad time of day for the magnet. Every magnet doesn't work. The question about Canada is we had a trap trade. What was the spike? What was the reversal? It's really simple. What was the spike? What was the reversal? That's all we need to eventually know about what happened with Canada. Now, obviously, I wouldn't be overjoyed. I'm not overjoyed that my trade is working so poorly on gold, but it's still entirely possible that gold is going to test that low. It's still possible. To me, it's possible to the VWAP. Now, I'm not quite as high as the VWAP, all right, but really, that's where my stop would be with micros. It's a couple of $100. I'm willing to risk it on magnets. Plenty of them work. You've seen plenty of them work. This one, it's not looking good at the moment. You can get out now. You don't have to you don't have to stay in and watch it also. And you could say, hey, this trading moderator, he's not real smart. I'm going to take a magnet to the VWAP, right? Maybe the VWAP magnet is the trade. We might as well hang around for a few minutes. Let's see what happens. Just talking us for a second about our retail trade. The reason you can't throw yourself into the corner and cry that you didn't get a fill today is because you look at the behavior, right? You look at the studying that we did and the time that we put in, and we're not stupid people. We work very hard at this. It moved 50 ticks last month, 57, and it reversed 73. It was an incredible trade. It moved 66 the month before. It moved 58 the month before. And then it had 3 months where it was in the high 70s. So we're not stupid. We're not foolish. It's not our fault that the whole candle today, the whole trade candle, was an uncharacteristic 35 ticks, the likes of which we have not seen in one single move going back a year. Okay? So our trade was perfect. The market didn't cooperate. It happens all the time. All the time. It doesn't mean we did anything wrong. It doesn't even mean that we'll change the setup next month, because 1 month is not enough to make you change a setup. It might be an anomaly, right? Now, did I miss the ES low of day magnet? That's taking place right now. It's another magnet you might want to take. All right. It's a valid attempt. The problem with the ES, the reason it's not a very good magnet, is look how it tested low, tested low, tested low, tested low, tested low, constant testing of low prior to us getting here, or just as we got here. It was testing and making new lows. You want the magnets preferably before all the tests have been made. Those are stronger opportunities. They work better. Okay? They work better. Now, look, Donald's talking about 50 MAs. All right? You can set up your magnets to trade the MA. You know, that's you can do that too. Everybody has levels they like to look at. It's really a question of which levels get tested the most, what's going on after the news, what was gold doing before the news. It was negative. It's still possible that this magnet trade could work. Sometimes your timing is off, and look, we might have just gotten in too soon. It's possible. Maybe it's a market open magnet. Maybe gold's not going to test this low until the market open. That's entirely possible. Sometimes you just don't know. But right now, yes, the trade's working against you, but it's far from over. It's far from over. I'm really curious. I do believe the ES is going to break this low. Let's watch it. We'll watch that also. Someone definitely could have put that trade on. And then sometimes we're just wrong and they don't. And then you just got to go on to something else, right? And you can always do an analysis and find a reason, oh, it's because of this test previously, or this happened
In a
previously.
CNBC interview, Trump's trade advisor
It's just the
Navarro says
nature
that
of
Biden's
trading.
EV mandates will be gone.
So I'll give it a few more minutes, and then we don't have to watch this pretty slow moving trade. Does anybody have any questions about our setup? This, I've said before, this is a holiday week. Even though it's not quite the holiday, it is, a lot of people are taking off. I think especially after tomorrow's FOMC. a lot of people will be gone. And a lot of people don't even trade until the FOMC makes their announcement. A lot of people just watch the markets. It is the nature of things. Folks, I'm going to go. I'm going to take this phone call and I'll see. I'm going to leave the charts on for a minute or two and turn all my mics off. Hold on 1 minute. All right.